Coming up on BYU Basketball with Kevin Young. It's the most wonderful time of the year, Christmas and Cougar Hoops. And after back-to-back wins over Mountain West foes, BYU is home for 2 in a row, including a Big 12 opener. It's all ahead with the Cougs head coach and point guard Dallin Hall. Coming up next on BYUtv and ESPN+.
BYU Basketball with Kevin Young is presented by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years.
Yes, indeed. Hello. Once again, good evening, Cougar Nation. Welcome back inside our weekly home at Studio C in the BYU Broadcasting Building on the Brigham Young University campus here in Provo, Utah. It's our final pre-Christmas edition of BYU Basketball with Kevin Young, your weekly look inside the BYU men's basketball program. Great to have you with us, either here in our studio audience, and thank you folks, or watching live or on demand via the BYU TV and BYU radio apps along with ESPN+. Coming up on tonight's show, here's what you can look forward to. We will look back at a weekend win over Wyoming at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. The Cougs home away from home. Deep Blue will profile bench booster Dawson Baker. Dallin Hall is our live studio guest tonight. We'll have a Christmas-themed mini game show segment with Dallin. Yes, it's the much-anticipated, somewhat feared return of Nerd Quest. We'll have an audience Q&A segment with the coach and Dallin and BYU Hoops trivia later in the program, and a special surprise at the end of the show as well. All right, it had been 35 years since a BYU head hoops coach won at least 8 of his first 10 games of his BYU tenure. But Kevin Young is now the latest to turn that trick. He improved to 8-2 with his latest win on the weekend. And please help me welcome in now the head coach of your BYU Cougar Hoopsters, Kevin Young. Good to see you. How are you? Doing all right? Good to see you. All right. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, the holiday schedule. Let's compare it to what you were dealing with in the NBA for a few years. The college holiday schedule this year at BYU is different.
Yeah, no, it's wildly different. I couldn't remember the last time I had even a couple days consecutively off during Christmas, so definitely will be nice. It also gives our chance to reset, I think, as a group, as a team, get everyone a chance to kind of get away. And, come back, laser focused on, kind of the conference slate.
One game between December 14th and December 31st. That's coming up tomorrow night, of course. So when there's just one game to play, how are you guys as a team accomplishing the goals you want to see met right now?
I mean, I think we've mapped out certain things we want to get better at. Definitely is I comment a lot about how different, how much more practice time we have here than what I'm used to. So it's really given us a chance to, make specific days kind of a theme of the day. And so we've had different things we want to get better at, and I think we've used the time wisely. I thought leading into Fresno, we had a lot of good practice time, and even Wyoming as well. So this next game will hopefully be the same.
And with a couple of bumps and bruises, too, it's actually a nice recuperation time, too, for some guys.
Yeah, I mean, you never want anyone to get hurt, obviously, but the schedule is such that there's a little buffer for guys to have a little extra time to heal, and hopefully, like I said, by the time we get to the conference slate, we're at 100%.
So after tomorrow, when will you see the players again? How much time will they have to actually go be with family? And then I also want to ask about some of your foreign players. Are there plans for them to be taken care of in the holidays? Yeah,
no, I mean, we got great support here, built in kind of adopted family, so to speak, for some of the international guys. We'll have a lot of coaches in town, if guys want to get working. But, I'm encouraging everyone to kind of get away. We'll be back day after Christmas and have a practice that evening, and then which will give us a nice runway leading up to the ASU game.
Which is the Big 12 opener. All right, so you're 10 games in. Not that it's a report card per se, but at a 10-game mark, it's a nice little mini milestone. How do you feel about your guys through 10?
Yeah, one thing we did when I was in the NBA, we kind of did a 10-game report analytically, which I know you could respect with your analytical prowess. But so Akash Sebastian, our director of analytics, kind of gave us strengths, weaknesses, different areas that we need to improve upon. I try to use that as a way to not have anything sneak up on us. Try to know where we're weak mainly, so we can fix things and then double down on things that are working well. So we just kind of had those meetings a few days ago. and chewing on that data in that film and just trying to make things right. So there's things we're doing well for sure. A lot of stuff we can get better at too, and that's kind of where we've devoted a lot of our time. As for you and the staff, analytics and otherwise, generally speaking, what do you like most about where you're at? There's some metrics that stand out. Our rebounding's been really good. Number 1 defensive rebounding team in the country, and you're top 20 in offensive rebounding. Yeah, so that's been a huge strength of ours. The Big 12 last year was the 3rd best offensive rebounding league in the country. This year, 2nd. So we know that's going to be a huge part of the game plan every night, is trying to keep guys off the glass. So that was a point of emphasis from day one. We're not at the 5 spot. We're not the biggest team, but I think Cabe was the 4th best defensive rebounder percentage-wise in the country. Foose is in the 97th percentile. But it's a team effort. We got a great length at the wing. Richie and Yegor have really good defensive rebounding percentages as well. So feel good there. I think we're taking, for the most part, we're taking the right shots. We still haven't shot it at the clip that I think we're capable of. Some of it is, our catch and shoot 3-point numbers are really good. Off the dribble threes aren't great. Not even something we really try to promote. We want to get more catch and shoot threes. Mm-hmm. So, spending time with guys like Cannon to really be ready to shoot on the perimeter, and hopefully those shooting percentages go up because of it. Back to your rebound numbers for a second. You're plus 10 points per game right now in second chance as well, which is big. Yeah, getting offensive rebounds is great, but capitalizing them on is even better. So, we have some scheme stuff that we want to do after we get an offensive rebound, and our guys have been pretty good there. So, yeah, happy with the rebounding, but it's something that we got to stay on our guys about and just keep making sure it's part of our identity. Back to the bumps and bruises for a sec. You've had your top 10 rotation guys available for the same game just 3 times in 10 games, meaning somebody's generally been out or working their way back. That said, to get done what you've got done with those moving parts, I think you have to really applaud the depth of this team right now. Yeah, I think depth is a strength of our team. You saw it the other night. Richie goes down basically first play of the game. Mo steps in and was incredible, on both ends of the floor. I think Elijah's played well while Yegor's been out. Dawson's gotten more minutes. So there's a bit of a trickle-down effect kind of all over the place. But, yeah, guys have stepped up, and I've said it all along, but our practices have been, you've been by practice a lot. Our practices are spirited, they're competitive. And, when guys get a chance to play, they're ready to go. When Coach says Mo, he means it's Mo what Mag. You guys call him Mo, right? Yep. Update then on Richie and Yegor, how they coming along. Richie got hurt in the Wyoming game. We wouldn't expect to see him tomorrow night, would we, Richie? It just got a note prior to the show. He's doing well. He's doing well. But, like with all of our guys, we're really cautious. He's unlikely to go tomorrow. Okay. Yegor is he's doing really well. Yeah, he's doing really well. Had a lot of meetings, with our medical group and our doctors to make sure he's trending in the right way, which he is. So that's a real disaster avoided, honestly. That clip's hard to watch with his injury. So I think we dodged a bullet there. If you could have your guys, all of them ready to go for ASU on New Year's Eve, you'd be ecstatic. Yeah, we would. And I think, it's great that we've had this depth to step up, but I think, something that makes it a bit tricky is just not having a ton of real game time with, our healthy group, right? Yeah. How do guys play off of each other? How does that impact the subbing and so forth? So I still think we'll be, in learn mode a little bit as the conference starts, and so be it. Yeah, trial by fire. You'll be in Big 12 play. Good news today. You added a player to your roster. And whether his time is now or a little bit down the line, perhaps you could tell us a bit about Hadim Umop. Yeah, glad he's here. That's something that we've been working on, since this summer, honestly. Super bright future for him. Great pictures, by the way. Those are awesome. Yeah, got a great smile, great family. From Senegal. Yeah, from Senegal. He's been with NBA Academy over in Africa. Coach Voigt actually coached him like 3 or 4 years ago, which is a whole another long story. But yeah, man, super dynamic athlete, 6'9", super long arms. Defensively, I think can guard quite a few different positions. Offensively, really attacks the rim. His shot mechanics are nice. And super bright future for him. He'll help us quite a bit in practice here early, and we'll see how things shake out, as it relates to game time and stuff like that. Speaking of attacking the rim,
Literally. Coach Voigt, I think, put out a clip of Hadim doing some damage. I think we have that thing queued up. Not every guy goes up and throws down the way Hadim did, but there was a backboard that bore the brunt here. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, clean up on aisle 3.
Yeah.
So that's Hadim Umop. Now, he is part of your roster. So he's part of your team now, but what's the plan for him?
Yeah, he's a guy that we'll bring along slowly. Obviously, he's coming in mid-year, and so he's playing catch-up. He's coming to a lot of the games, and he's been at practice a couple different times. But we'll bring him along slowly. He's young. He's
like literally 18.
Yeah. He's a young guy. He's 18. He's but got a lot of experience over with the NBA Academy in Africa. So we feel good about getting him in right now and just being able to, kind of get our hands on him, help develop him, kind of get things jump started, and we'll see where things go with him.
That's awesome. Last week, by the way, was a 2-game week for BYU. Both games against Mountain West Conference opponents. After a home win over Fresno State, it was up I-15 for the Cougs' annual Delta Center appearance. BYU clashing with the Cowboys of Wyoming. BYU came in on a 14-game win streak over Wyoming and had won 18 of the last 19 games on the Jazz home floor. Let's take a look back at some of the win over at Wyoming. Highlights and stats presented by Intermountain Health, official medical provider of BYU Athletics. We're going to showcase some individual performances like we like to do. We'll start with Trevin Nell, coach. Follows up the 22-point game against Fresno State with 15 against Wyoming. He goes 6 for 7 field, 3 for 4 from 3, 3 or more threes in 3 straight games. And we all know he can knock down the 3, but he's added a lot more to his game this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's just an efficient player. He takes and makes good shots. I think our guys do a great job of screening to get him open. He's obviously a guy who can move without the ball. Our bigs do a good job of carving out space in the interior. Guys run him off the 3-point line. He's able to get, into the teeth of the defense, and with the way that Foose and Kaba can move bodies around there, it kind of opens up driving lanes there at the hoop. So, he's doing a lot for us. He's a vocal leader for us. He's a competitive guy. I think he's super underrated defensively. I mean, he's very physical. He's one of our most physical guys. So, he's been good all around.
And of course, that Fresno State game, I mentioned the 22 points, but I can't leave out his 10 rebounds, which was his first career double-double.
Yeah, everyone was busting his chops on that, getting in there and rebounding. But, again, going back to the offensive rebounding thing, that's not just limited to our bigs. We really encourage our guys in those corners to get in there and crash, and he's spacing in the corner quite a bit. So when he doesn't shoot, we like having those guys get in there and see if we can get extra possessions. All
right, back to more from Wyoming. Well, let's go to Mighty Mawut Mag. Best game as a Cougar, I think we could say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He came in and played extremely well. They dared him to shoot. He knocked down, shots with good, I thought rhythm. He didn't force it. I think that's something that we've been on him about, is just taking good shots. But I think the star of the show was his defense. He was incredible. And, he came in, highly touted as a defender. And, I hadn't given him a ton of game reps. I thought he's been solid defensively in practice, but, what he showed in that game, we hadn't quite seen that side of him yet, where it was just that, impressive. And so he definitely, caught the eye of all the staff and his teammates as well. And, we look forward to him having, building upon that.
I played more than 23 minutes Saturday at versus Wyoming. Dawson Baker now. Third consecutive game for Dawson in double figures. He had 11 points in almost 30 minutes. Multiple threes for him now in 3 consecutive games. And the most rebounds he's had as a BYU player, too. He had 5 boards on Saturday.
I mean, Dawson's just a really good basketball player. He knows how to, he plays at his own pace. He never gets sped up. He's got tremendous footwork. Really, really just fundamentally sound. And, you combine that with his shot making and some of the chemistry he's developing with Foose. They've turned into a pretty good, 1-2 punch coming in off the bench together. And, he's a guy that we can really rely on in the half court to make plays off the dribble.
He's a really nifty creator that way, isn't he?
He is. I mean, he just knows how to play. It's, again, his balance, his footwork, his handle, everything is played off the shot. So he's just been really fun to coach because of those reasons. Another
player we're going to look at is Foose, just so solid always. He plays 16 minutes, but he ends up with 8 and 3 in those 16. On the season now, Coach, he's shooting 66%. And his free throw number for a big guy is outstanding. He's made 15 free throws in a row now at this point. He's 23 for 25 on the year. And not every big is as good at the stripe as he is, but he's good everywhere.
Yeah, no, he is. I mean, I think teams have a choice, every night when they play us as it relates to Foose. You're going to play him one-on-one, or you're going to double him. We got shooting kind of all over the court. So I think that presents a challenge to a lot of teams. He's been able to punish guys doing both. Obviously his efficiency gets talked about a lot, but, he's very skilled as a passer. We use him as kind of a pressure release guy up top where he can kind of make passes back door and just be kind of an offensive hub there too. So, he can kind of hurt you all over the place. In
terms of how they track possessions used, if you look at the guys who are at 24% or more, he's #1 in the country in offensive efficiency. Cannon catchings, let's take a look at him for a second. If Richie doesn't go tomorrow, Cannon will be the only guy who will have started all 11 games for you. He answers the bell every night, and he ended up with 8 points, a couple of rebounds, and a block shot against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, that last clip there where he attacks the rim, something, we love to see. We've been on him about, that. But I think the #1 thing with him, going back to the catch and shoot threes, is, just on him every day to shoot the ball in terms of catching and shooting, spacing. At 6'9", he's got a high release. I think he passes up to him and he kick out threes. And just trying to wind him up as a catch and shoot guy. He can really, really shoot the ball. I think that'll really help his efficiency by catching and shooting more as opposed to, catching, kind of wasting a dribble, then getting to a shot. So he's a work in progress. He knows that he works hard every day, and, we coach him as hard or harder than anyone because we know how much potential he has. And I think him reaching that potential can really be an X factor for us.
Something you're not coaching him on is what's so natural to him is that high, smooth release. That's a special shot, isn't it?
It is. It is. You can't guard it. You can't block it. I mean, learn this in the NBA. Like, guys with his size, they either make or miss the shot. The defense a lot of times has nothing to do with it. He either makes it or misses it, and that's kind of what I've encouraged him, to do, to have that kind of mindset.
All right, the final stat look at BYU and Wyoming. And by the way, it is now 15 consecutive wins for BYU over the Pokes in this all-time series, which used to be, of course, a conference series. It's been 20 years since Wyoming last defeated BYU on the hardwoods. Good numbers all around as BYU wins it by 19. A lower scoring game for BYU, perhaps, but you're going to win on 49 points.
Yeah, no, our defense was tremendous. That they only shot 8 free throws was a big number for us. I think it felt like we missed 4 or 5 layups in that game. That would have pushed our offensive numbers a little higher. But more than anything, I thought our defense was outstanding in that game.
Yeah, and Wyoming came in, as you noted, one of the better free throw rate teams in the country, and they were way below what they normally do at the stripe. All right, that's a 15th consecutive win over the Pokes, and BYU now 8-2 on the season. Next up, it is tomorrow night, the Cougs non-conference finale. It is home to Florida A&M. Here's how BYU's gotten to 8-2. 10 games down. We'll take a look at the upcoming schedule as well. And here we go. Tomorrow night, Florida A&M, the Rattlers, taking on BYU for the first time ever. And then right after that, Coach, you're into conference play on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we're, Florida A&M, look, they were, basically tied at Clemson on the road, so we know they're not going to be a pushover, but, need to take care of business and then, again, let everyone kind of reset, as we mentioned, and then, get ready for Big 12 play, which we've been gearing up for quite a bit. I mean, we pretty much started to kind of focus on what we feel like we need to get ready for the Big 12 kind of after that Ole Miss, NC State, Providence run. When we came back from that, we sort of shifted gears to, okay, those last 3 games were Big 12 like. Here's what we learned. Here's what we need to kind of get better at and really emphasize. And so it'll be an exciting time when we get to conference play for sure.
I say New Year's Eve. It's the afternoon of New Year's Eve. It'll be a 2 p.m. game on the 31st. And the Big 12 is a great basketball league, but I think it's the best home league as well right now in terms of home win percentage. I think Big 12 teams are winning a higher rate of their home games than any other league. So winning your home games, as in any league, is imperative.
Yeah, it is, and especially in a league as competitive as the Big 12, you got to take care of business. At home, lucky for us, we have an incredible, home court venue. Fans, show up every night, and I'm sure it'll be even louder and crazier during Big 12 season.
BYU's 8th nationally right now in per-game attendance. That number's only going to go up once league play gets underway.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been. Even one of the refs came up to me in the last game and was like, can they even do that? With the rock back there going crazy during the free throws and stuff. So it's certainly a major factor.
Yeah.